All right, so let's go to the next one. This is UK politics. Oh my God, do I have to listen to this before again? All right, once you attack all hereditarism, you're basically saying all hereditarism is wrong, and so the next stage is the monarchy. This former Tory MP is frustrated and upset that removing hereditary peers is an attack on the monarchy. And she said, and all right, a minute and 35 seconds. Let's listen. Oops.
Hereditary peers, and it's wrong for everyone. The second thing is, once you attack the hereditary principle, then what do you say about the monarch? The monarch is hereditary.
Well, the monarch's not doing legislation to be
the monarch has to sign off. The monarch has to sign off the new prime minister. So the monarch has a role in government, even if they don't interfere on a day-to-day. So once you attack all hereditaryism, which is what you're doing, you're basically saying all hereditaryism is wrong. And so the next stage is the monarchy. And I would say, yes, it's anachronistic. Yes, it's a little wrong, but it works.
I thought you were going to be on the other side.
I know.
Relieved.
Absolute madness. Honestly, rest assured,
There's
this
only
has
90
nothing
of
to
them.
do with. Rest assured, Robert, you can relax. It's not an attack on the monarchy.
But
It's
in
just saying
principle,
there
it's
are
a
plenty
great
of
precedent.
excellent and brilliant people, and we don't have to have people who are there just by virtue of
The
who
compromise.
their
Oh,
father
Sorry,
is.
it's stuffed full of nepo babies who turn up and get 300 quid to do naff all just because what they were
No, that's
born.
not true.
That is absolutely
Well,
madness.
there are some bad peers.
As I'm listening to this now that I'm editing it a day later, it's the same thing that Trump wants to do in the US. But the only difference is we do not have a monarchy system in the US. So they want to remove whatever role they're not saying that, but this is what I'm getting. They want to remove the monarchy in some shape or form. And then they're gonna bring in their own little group of people, the Tories, similar, like I said in some other videos, the Tories, the GOP in the US, and some group in the Middle East. These are the same group. So this is the thing that the institution did not get. They ease themselves in, be friendly with the monarch. Right now, the monarch, they can play with the queen. So they went after the queen's child, which was, what's his name? Charles. And then they went after his son, which is William. So they're cozying up with them so they know the ins and outs of how the institution, the firm works. So now that they already know, who knows, they probably get them in some framing them or trying to scare them or something like that. They can't get Harry, so Harry had to get out of there. I'm laughing about it now. It's not funny because they dumbed down the system, the monarchy. The two, now Charles is not the anymore, he's the king, and now the heir, you could see the direction the heir is going. So all in all, what Trump wants to do in the US, this is what I don't know which group who wants to do that in the UK. They want to get rid of those, people were in high power who control like the kings and whatever. They want to get rid of it. So once they get rid of it, who they gonna have? This is where the people need to pay very close attention to who's running for certain office. That way, if they want a democracy, they could have people who stand up for them, because they're literally playing everything out in front of everybody. I don't even think I'm making sense with what I'm saying, but the way that I'm looking at that discussion now that I'm editing it, they're doing the same thing with what Trump, the GOP in the US wants to do. Get rid of the system, the group, the institution that we have here, the check and balance, this kind of thing. You have 3 branches of government, and then within those 3 branches of government, you have micro other offices checking on each other. No one has more power than the other. So they want to get rid of that, because that system worked. So now the system that's in the UK, which is the king, like this woman just said, he doesn't have that much power, but still they want to get rid of him. So the other groups, the same groups that went to the RNC, they want to take over. Oh my God, That's the way that I'm seeing it. Project 25 wants to be implemented. I mean, Trump wants to implement Project 25 into the US, and then almost the same thing that, as a matter of fact, I think the UK already have Project 25 over there. But what the Tories and all the groups, the same group as the Trumps in the US, wants to do, they want to be the one who control that. Oh my God. This is crazy and scary, and this is what happened when Charles and William do not know their position. If they were firm and understand their position, these people will not have a grip of that. And if they had stood up with the people, they will have the people behind them. But since they neglect the people, they only think of themselves, that the people are hungry, they need shelter, they need food and all of that. So I'm assuming the people most likely will go for that. Get rid of the system, the current system, and then implement something else. But it's the people that's gonna run it. The UK needs to pay very close attention, because they still have a say. It's who's gonna govern. And then if you let the bad people govern, and then they will take that right away from you, and they will stay in power forever, like Trump already told us. Just these two groups is like hand in glove. You just have to watch what's going on in the US and see how they probably gonna implement it in the UK. And then the US needs to look at what's happening in the UK so it doesn't happen in the US. It's pretty much the same thing. The same group are doing the same exact thing. So I think later on in this video, I already wrote the text, but I think there's an article I'm gonna read, and I'm gonna be asking myself some question. I already recorded it, I just haven't edited it yet, but I'm gonna take you along with me as I ask myself some question, because I do not know how the system in the UK truly works. So as I was reading the tweets and articles, I was asking myself some questions. So it's gonna be very fun and crazy as well. All right, so that's it. Let's get back to the original recording.
Who may not do a lot, but my
Talking about the
experience.
hereditary peers.
There's only 90.
Madness.
There's only 90 of them,
So what
and there was a very good compromise which Blair did, which they have to elect those, to get in, so they have to be elected, these hereditary peers. But the second important thing is the House of Lords actually works. And when I was a minister, the scrutiny of the House of Lords was some of the hardest parts.
I love this. This is a great defence. It's so interesting. I mean,
It's so odd, because you're quite a sort of, in many ways, you're quite sort of progressive and
Yeah, I thought he was
open-minded,
gonna be on
down
the-
with
Yeah,
the
but I'm also
people,
a
Robert. This is
pragmatist.
very
I'm a
odd.
pragmatist, I'm a conservative, because if it's not broken, then why
But
change
this is
it?
just
And it
they're
works.
not-
It's not broken. This is the thing. They benefit on it right now, so it's working for them. But when you look at the rest of the peasant who's suffering, don't need, they need food, shelter, and all of those basic stuff, while the royal family getting million for doing absolutely nothing. So it's working for them. But there is something wrong there. It is broken. But it's almost done, by the way.
The House of Lords, and I'd be much,
Okay, so that's that. Let me pause it. Okay, remaining hereditary peers to be kicked out of House of Lords within months. I definitely approve this. Okay, I don't know how this works in the UK. I'm just sharing it, okay? So that's why I didn't have much to say over there, with the exception of what I've known so far, which is the royal family is receiving millions and doing absolutely nothing. Okay, the remaining hereditary peers to be kicked out of House of Lords within months. I definitely approve of this. Minister for the Construction, Nick Thomas Simon, said the removal of hereditary peerage is a landmark reform. He added the hereditary principle in lawmaking has lasted for too long and is out of step with modern Britain. The second chamber plays a vital role in our constitution, and people should not be voting on our laws in parliament by an accident of birth. Okay, I sort of understand, but I'm not too familiar with this. I'm just reading it, and if I have something to say, I'll say, like typically, but I don't know how this runs or works in the UK. But conservative critics have called the move a vendetta and political vandalism. Quotes from an article from The Independent, but the article below is from the BBC. Okay, let me put this in the description for you guys. How long it is? It's not that long. So it seems like, this is what I understand without reading too much into it. It seems like there are some people in Parliament are there because of their birthright. There's the seat here where Charles or the Queen used to come and open Parliament. This is where they sit, back there with the golden thing back there. But what I'm seeing here, there are some people who have position in Parliament because of of their family, who they were born from. So it seems like they want to remove these people from the position. If you want to be there, you have to run for it, to be elected for it. It seems this is what I'm getting. Okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. Let me read this. Maybe it will explain a little bit better. I have one more tweet to share with you. Plans to get rid of the remaining hereditary peers from the House of Lords have been set out by the government, marking the biggest shake-up of Parliament in a quarter of century. Abolish the 92 seats reserved for hereditary peers. Very interesting. 92. That's pretty much. Will it be like, for instance, when new laws are gonna implemented, when in some old tweets I will say I read some part where the Queen will want to know what is in the law, what they're gonna vote on. She needs to see it first, and if once she look at it and they make certain changes to benefit her, or she's not part of this, or this kind of thing, will that be these people who will be doing that? But anyway, let me read. Abolishing the 92 seats reserved for hereditary peers who inherit their titles through their families was one of Labour's general election promises. Okay. The aim is to finish reforms introduced by the last Labour government, which in 1999 revoked the 700-year-old right of all hereditary peers to sit in the Lords, leaving just 92 as a compromise with the Conservative. One of the 92, a former leader of the Lords, Tory Lord Strachlit, okay, sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, condemned the move as a high-handed, shoddy political act. But if they ran on it and now they won majority of the seats, so they're gonna follow through. But let me read some more. Speaking in the Lord Chamber, he argues it should be peers who rarely took part in debate who were removed, not hereditary ones, many of whom, he said, were very active participants and some of our most senior and experienced members. Lord Strathclyde later told Matt Cawley on BBC Radio 5 Live he would be very happy for hereditary peers to leave, but only with something better in its place. That meant not having a wholly appointed house at the mercy of a prime minister's patronage, he said. Responding in the chamber, Lord Leader Baroness Smith noted that the bill had featured in Labour's manifesto and the King's Speech, which outlined the government's program of laws. She said there was nothing in the legislation to stop hereditary peers who were removed being nominated for life peerages in future. She also observed that none of the remaining hereditary peers were women. Labour has very interesting, because usually those things pass on to the next men in the family. Very interesting. Labour has also promised to introduce a retirement age of 80 for members of the Lords, but says that move will follow later after consultation. Another Conservative former cabinet minister, Lord Forsyth, described the removal of hereditary peers as a naked attempt to disable opposition in the House, because given the size of Labour's majority in the Commons, it was the only part of Parliament that will properly scrutinize legislation. Earlier Constitution Minister Nick Thomas Simon said the measure to remove hereditary peers from Parliament was a landmark reform to our Constitution. The hereditary principle in lawmaking has lasted for too long, and it's out of step with modern Britain. The second chamber plays a vital role in our Constitution, and people should not be voting on our laws in Parliament by an accident of birth. Very interesting. Okay, this bill shows the government's commitment to delivering on our manifesto and is an important part of putting politics in the service of working people. I agree with that. I mean, you could understand the others who's oppose it because they're the one who benefit from it. And now, what I see here as I'm editing it is that whoever talked into William's ear I remember reading a comment, someone, I sort of agree with the comment, but not fully, because I've been saying almost the same thing for a very long time, that the people that the institutions surround themselves with, the naysayers, they giving them, pinpoint families against families, the brothers against the brothers, this type of thing. Some people, someone in the comment section said, no, it's William who did this thing. But maybe yes, I could say yes, because the jealousy that ingrained in him since child, yes, he probably did some stuff by himself. But many of these people, I told you, the UK is masterful at psychology. They may say certain things to him to trigger him to think something else and make him act on it. So to get back why I decided to pause to answer this part here while I'm editing, is that Harry, who is out, pretty much pushed out by his brother, and they put it in writing, having Simon Case to come in to get Harry out. And now there's Harry outside of the institution, is working very well. He's doing very well on his own without the taxpayers.
To work together on bringing sustainable tourism to the mainstream. Today we are a $3 trillion coalition. Today we are a $3 trillion coalition.
So now this is the problem for the UK, not the UK, for the institution. Now, if they're arguing, oh, they need this, they need that. Now, perfect example, you push your brother out, he's making it on his own, therefore, you could do it on your own as well. I knew this was a setup. This is the thing that William did. He pretty much F himself. Harry and Meghan told them they were making a big mistake.
So in conclusion, if you'd had the support, you'd still be there?
Without question.
Yeah.
I'm sad that what's happened has happened, but I know, and I'm comfortable knowing that we did everything that we could to make it work, and we did everything on the exit process the way that it should have been
with
done.
as much respect.
With as much
and
respect.
Oh my God, we just did everything we could to protect them. Oh my God, we just did everything we could to protect them.
All the steps that we were seeing Harry making, which was probably very costly to him and very painful to the family, him and Meghan. And you see, we all know about the mental aspect of that with Meghan. They were trying to tell them, don't do that, because this is going to cost them in the long run. Now, they took Harry's security. Now, if they, oh my God, if they remove this from the institution, from William and the rest, guess what? There's Harry doing it on his own. Therefore, you should be able to do that on your own.
Today we are a $3 trillion coalition.
Go make your own money, get your own security, get all of this. So pretty much Harry is the model, is the blueprint. What you caused him, you thought it was good for him, therefore it's gonna be good for you as well. So this is what was playing out here. They played them so freaking badly, and this is why the court stick with what was on the paper.
Began to address Granny about the 5 options. Your Majesty, you've seen the 5 options? Yes, she said. Everyone assembled that, above all, I was desperate to keep security. That was what worried me most, my family's physical safety. I wanted to prevent a repeat of history. Barring that, they would only accept option 5. We discussed the 5 options for nearly an hour. At last, the bee got up and went round the table, handing out a draft of a statement the palace would soon be releasing, announcing implementation of option 5. Wait, I'm confused. You've already drafted a statement? Before any discussion? Announcing option 5? In other words, the fix was in this whole time? This summit was just for show? No answer.
They knew, they set the institution up. They set them up. Oh my God. Well, they told them, we're just gonna sit back and watch how this play out. this is gonna be very good to look at how this is gonna play out. They're not gonna go easily. Okay, Sir Keir Starmer is in favor of abolishing the House of Lords and replacing it with an elected assembly of the nations and region, but that will not happen before the next election. Labour's election manifesto called House of Lords reform long overdue and essential as the chamber is too large and many peers fail to serve democracy. That makes sense. As I'm reading this, the first thing that came to mind is what happened to Johnny Depp. What happened to Johnny Depp's case? Alright. Sir Tony Blair's Labour government reached a deal with the Tories to massively reduce the number of hereditary peers from around 800 to the current 92. Wow, they had 800? What were their roles? During the coalition government, an attempt by the Liberal Democrats to replace the House of Lords with an elected chamber collapsed after talks with conservative rebels fell. About half of hereditary peers still in the chamber are conservative, with the rest mainly independent crossbenchers and a small number of Labour and Liberal Democrats peers. On the conservative benches is Lord Attlee, grandson of Labour Prime Minister Clement Attlee. Viscount Stansgate, whose father, Tony Benn, re-announced his peerage to sit in the Commons, is one of 4 Labour's hereditary peers. The Duke of Wellington, whose great-great-great-grandfather defeated Napoleon at Waterloo in 1815, and Lord Ravensdale, the great-grandson of Archewell Mosley, who founded the British Union of Fascists in 1932, both sit at crossbench peers. The Earl Marshal and Lord Great Chamberlain had been expected to keep their seats due to ceremonial function and state occasion, but will also be removed under the plans. Most lords are entitled to a £342 daily. What? £342 daily allowance for each sitting day they attend, although they can choose not to claim it. Why are they giving them money just for sitting? This is why so many people going hungry. Okay, now I need to know, what do the Lords do? Lords in the UK do. Okay, let me finish read it so I could go and look it up. £342 daily. Oh my God. Some receive a salary instead of including the Lord Speaker, who receive 106,000 plus £1,000. Okay, 106,363 pounds. Okay, governance minister and the Lords are entitled to ministerial salary external, which range from 66,000 pound. Oh my God, plus 106,000 pound plus, although the actual amount claimed is slightly below these figures. Oh my God. Okay, so let me look, what do they do? What do Lords do in the UK? That's the question. Let's put today's year 2024. What do they do? What the Lords does? Okay, making laws and death, considering a public policy, holding government to account, making laws. Members spent more than half. Okay, let's see. As the upper house of Parliament, the House of Lords has many similar functions to the House of Commons. Okay, this has to do with the UK, so I will have to know what each one of them do, because I don't. Okay. It scrutinizes legislation, holds the government to account, and consider and report upon public policy. Peers may also seek to introduce legislation or propose amendments to bill. So they're up there. Are they the only one who could bring laws? So, okay, what do MPs do? Let me see. Because I thought it would be MPs, Member of Parliament. MP. What do MPs do? Well, the roles of British MPs. Their primary responsibility is to act in the national interest. They must also act in the interest of their constituent, where this does not override their primary responsibility. Finally, okay, what are their primary responsibilities? That's what I wanted to know. Finally, if they belong to a political party, they may act in the interest of that party, subordinate to the other two responsibilities. Okay, what are MPs' responsibilities? what are MPs' primary responsibilities? Let's remove there. Okay, what other is it the same thing that I just read? Yeah, it didn't really tell me. I thought they were the one roles and responsibility. Maybe that one. I thought they were the one who bring laws, like similar to the US. You have one of them who bring a law or a bill, I would say, and then both chambers vote on it. The majority wins. If majority people vote for it, it becomes law or something, and then it's sent to the president. So this is where I'm a little bit confused with the UK. Okay, what other roles and responsibilities of MPs? Working in the parliament. Okay, working in the parliament, doing what? Members regularly speak either in support of or in opposition to a piece of legislation. In Parliament, members may also address constituent concern during debate, ask questions of ministers during question time, and work to create or amend laws. So it seems like, again, I'm brand new into this. I'm asking myself question if I understand. It seems like the Lords bring bills to be voted on. They decide, the Lords, okay? The hereditary ones. They the one who bring laws. And then the MPs vote on it. Is that what I'm getting on it? Right? The Lords, hereditary, they get it from birth. They're the one who could bring law on the table, and then the MPs vote on it, whether they agree with it or disagree, and then that will become law. I don't know. It seems like those hereditary people have control over there. So that's, I don't know. This is the way that I'm getting it. I'm not saying I got it right. So you guys could correct me on it. And I guess the MPs also, I guess, create laws, and which the thing says also amend laws as well. So, yeah. Alright, back to Twitter. I did finish with the article. So let's see. I fundamentally disagree with you. The whole concept of Lord is abhorrent. Agreed. The hereditary peers and the representatives of the church are abhorrent. Agreed. It has long been the ambition of bought and paid for politicians like Stormer to own the second chamber themselves. Again, if I understood how the law works in the UK, maybe I'll have more to say here. I'm just, going with my opinion, and I don't even think my opinion is correct. Dismantle aristocratic nonsense, weakening royal family, way forward. I think so too. Royals next. Okay, at least Stormer administration is trying to implement some of the structural changes necessary for modernizing the mechanism of governance. Lots more to go. Miles to go over here in the US as well. Goals: tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay, the whole house needs to go. Thanks. Okay, if this is one of the things the Labours ran on, and then they got, well, the Tories were not doing too well, so people wanted to get out from their grip. So if Labours ran on that for the election that just happened, July 4th election, so maybe this is why they choose July 4th. They're coming for the royal family. Maybe that's why they choose July 4th. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me go to my last one. This has to do with Greenfield.